clash of two blue bloods to open up the Southern California College Baseball Classic. The UCLA Bruins back at home at Jackie Robinson Stadium welcome the number 12 Vanderbilt Commodores into Los Angeles, winners of 7 straight. Hello everybody. Alongside the former pitcher Sid Iyer, I'm Jonah Malkin, delighted to be with you. Well, the Bruins split their midweek series against Arizona State, but they've got another prime opportunity tonight against a ranked opponent.
It's going to be a great game. As you mentioned, ranked opponent, and UCLA got something to prove tonight.
For the Bruins, the former freshman All-American Rock Chalowski has really been surging this sophomore season.
Yeah, Rock Chalowski, the heart and soul of this Bruin lineup. 2 grand slams already this year and hitting .387, leading the team in home runs, RBIs, total bases, and walks. Someone to watch for sure.
Meanwhile, for the Vandy boys, they're being paced by the preseason All-American and Golden Spikes Award preseason watch list, R.J. Austin, crushing at a .455 mark to begin his junior campaign.
Yeah, tied for most hits in the SEC, ranked 79 in the MLB draft prospect rankings this year. A lot of swagger, and I'm really excited to see him play.
So we're ready to go for the 8th overall tilt between the Bruins and the Commodores. The last time these two teams faced off was in Nashville during the 2022-2023 season. And Sid, this just has a slightly different feel to it. Fans continuing to file in. This UCLA team is a lot different this season than they were back then. As we take a look at the lineup for Vanderbilt and the Commodores coming in with an 8-1 overall record. Such a potent lineup, especially at the top of the order with R.J. Austin. We just talked about him. They've got 3 different players in that starting 9 batting over .400 this year.
Yeah, a lot of really good players, a lot of good hitters in this lineup, and not a lot of power, not a home run hitting team, but a very fundamental baseball type of team. So look to see them run on the bases and try and get on base in scrappy ways.
There's a look at the breakdown for Cody Delvecchio. Has become the weekend starter for this Bruins team. 3rd start of the season, and he deals a first pitch strike to begin this Friday night contest. That fastball can reach up to 95, 96 miles an hour. But he does such a good job, Sid, of balancing it out with the incorporation of the slider from time to time. You can see how low that gets as a right-hander. And they like him in this starting lineup against a right-handed heavy lineup for Vandy.
Yeah, they really put a lot of faith in Delvecchio here, their Friday night starter again this season. Had a tough outing last time against A&M Corpus Christi. Went 4 2/3, struck out 7 with 4 earned runs.
2-1 catches the bottom of the zone, evens it up at 2.
But in his first outing, 5 innings, only 1 earned run on 70 pitches. So John Savage throwing him out there again, got faith in his Friday night starter to give him some innings tonight.
Austin lays off, and the count runs full. That's something that R.J. Austin does so well. His patience in the batter's box. He's drawn 8 walks so far this season. Has a 59 on-base percentage, essentially.
Hey, let's go, two. Come on, baby.
The guy is just such an elite player. Full count.
There you go.
Just fouls it off.
Yeah, good pitch by Delvecchio, that outside corner on full count. And yeah, you mentioned Austin. If he gets on base, Delvecchio's got to worry about him. 6 stolen bases already in 6 attempts. He's perfect.
Hey, let's go.
And just a really
Take your time.
really
Let's go,
all-around
baby,
player
when
at the
you're ready.
plate, able to work those counts and get on base.
Chopper to short. Chalowski makes the play in time. Got enough arm strength on it for out number 1, but could see the speed of R.J. Austin nearly beating out the throw. So 6-3 putout sets up Justin Rigdon batting in the 2 spot. A look at the defense for UCLA. A lot of familiar faces, but Peyton Brennan is back in the starting center fielder after missing the previous 6 games. Jared Hawking over in right. Behind the dish, Cashel Duggar is getting the start after watching his teammate Blake Baltz get the start behind home plate in Game 2 against Arizona State. Bruins split the 2-game series with the Sun Devils on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week as the lefty takes a strike.
Yeah, good to see Brennan out there in center field again, banged up due to injury. Almost hit for the cycle in one of his last games before getting banged up, but Bruins definitely happy to have him back.
There's that breaking ball, drops in. Beautiful start and movement on it.
Yeah, I think immediately we're seeing him work that fastball and that off speed, keeping it low, and that's looking good so far.
11 strikeouts on the year for Del Vecchio. Justin Rigdon, freshman out of Georgia, got off to an auspicious start to begin his career. His first collegiate hit was an RBI double in his very first plate appearance against Grand Canyon in their opening day contest. They were dominant in that performance. Again, induces a chopper, and he's unable to corral it. Phoenix call as he took a tumble as well at the end. So Del Vecchio is forcing some infield contact, but a good job base running for Rigdon for the first hit of the night.
Yeah, and another good pitch by Del Vecchio. Similar to Austin, as he mentioned, just weak contact, and it looks like it just got past Del Vecchio on the mound, and Call going in for the scoop, and a little somersault there over the mound. Looks okay, but infield single, and Vandy's got a runner on.
And it's interesting, you talked about the career outing for Del Vecchio against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. 104 pitches thrown. That was a career high. Did collect a career high 7 strikeouts, but you wonder what kind of juice he has, even though he's had plenty of rest coming into this game. But as a pitcher, how long does it normally take when you throw over 100 pitches to regain your full strength?
I mean, especially early on in the season, it can be challenging, right? He threw 70 in his first, and only in his second start of the season, over 100 pitches. So John Savage, head coach, definitely putting faith in him and letting him extend the leash. But it can be challenging just getting into that groove, especially early on in the season. So we'll see. You know, I think here today, good team he's facing, might be some adrenaline. But, you know, he had his usual week off, so we'll see how he fares tonight.
There's going to go. Kind of a pitch out, and unable to haul it in was Chalowski, and a successfully stolen base for Rigdon as the Commodores have their first runner in scoring position.
Yeah, and Duggar with that throw to Chalowski at short, and we talked about this top of the lineup, 9 stolen bases between Austin and Rigdon, who just stole second. And look at this throw, fastball up, just a little bit up the line. Chalowski tried to get it, but hit the top of his glove, and Vandy's got some business going here with 1 out.
Consider Riley Nelson, who's digging in right now. He's got 2 stolen bases as well, as that misses up and away for 3-0. So if he can reach now that top 3 lineup in the order for Vandy. They're so prolific as a team. They have erupted offensively, especially over the last couple of games. 4 straight double-digit run performances as that catches the bottom of the zone.
Yeah, good 3-0 fastball. Want to get back in the zone, but to your point, though, yeah, 18 walks between Austin and Rigdon, the hitter, or the 2-hitter rather, and Nelson also with 6 walks this season as well. So a lot of production in different ways.
3-1 from Del Vecchio, and he's able to draw a 5-pitch walk. Travis Eggert, the third base umpire, says he laid off. By the way, Scott Latendry is the umpire behind home. Frank Flugrat over at first, and Steve Mattingly, the second base umpire. That's the officiating crew for tonight's matchup and the officiating crew for this weekend series. Beautiful weekend of baseball. Southern California College Baseball Classic, UConn, USC, all going to be featured. Really a wonderful way to usher in this 2025 season here in Los Angeles.
And usually this tournament played at Dodger Stadium, but with the renovations that the Dodgers are doing to the clubhouse and some things underground, they're playing it here at Jackie Robinson Stadium this year.
Throwback to second is a beat late. Rigdon was able to return to the bag. And to your point, even 2 years ago, they actually got a chance to host this tournament here in this ballpark, but decided, hey, last year let's play at Dodger Stadium. Why not? It's an attempt for a double steal. The throw to third is not in time. Martin couldn't lay his glove down. And a double steal for Nelson and Rigdon. You talked about how electric these guys are when they get on base. And now two runners in prime scoring position for Vandy with just one out.
Yeah, it was a good throw by Baltz, or by Duggar rather, and that throw a little bit up the line, but Rigdon a good job of doing a little hook slide. As you see, taking a little break here, maybe talking through whether they want to challenge that or not, as you see Duggar looking towards third base. I think Roman Martin, the third baseman for UCLA, might have been talking to third base umpire Travis Eggert about that call.
And it's not like Del Vecchio necessarily has the longest windup, but this just seems to be an opportunistic base running team.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see like this aggressive base running manifest throughout the game. And as we see here, umpires doing a official review as they look at the replay monitor down the line, down the third base line behind the UCLA dugout. See Tim Corbin, the head coach, alongside Rigdon at third base, taking a look at this. That's the monitor that they're looking at this replay.
And that is one of the adjustments this year in 2025 is the kind of consistent use and integration of technology. We're seeing it not just with the VAR, as again, from this angle, it's tough to tell. Yeah, Martin got the glove down, but is blocked off a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be a close call. Rigdon doing a good job trying to avoid that tag on the slide as he slid in, and Martin doing a good job of trying to get him on that swipe. We'll see what they say.
And they confirm the call. Scott Latendry, the home plate umpire, confirms it after a little adjudication. And so the Commodores here in the top of the first threatening in a major way.
Yeah, now second and third, two runners in scoring position. And a bit of a stressful inning now. Only 18 pitches so far for Del Vecchio, but definitely a test early.
Now the heralded Brody Johnston. They're so excited about what he can be, is back and healthy after missing the first couple games of the season due to injury, projected to be the SEC Freshman of the Year. And right on cue, lifts one into right center. On the move is Brennan, back at the wall, and it is gone. Brody Johnston, welcome to college baseball. His first home run of the season, and it's a 3-run blast in the first for Vanderbilt.
And that's got to feel good after coming back from injury, and that Vandy dugout loving it. A quick 3-0 lead here off of Del Vecchio, an opposite field home run. Let's take a look at the replay of this swing. Let's take a look at this here. And just raw power to that right center gap. Hit it right around the scoreboard here at Jackie Robinson Stadium, and Peyton Brennan full-on sprint to that UCLA health sign there in right center. And would you look at that? Vandy up 3-0 early on, and that could be a big set of runs here to start the game.
There's a reason they were so excited about getting him. Johnston, the #1 overall prospect in the state of Tennessee, as Mac Rose, the designated hitter, is staring at a 1-1 count. And again, this Vanderbilt team had been erupting offensively, but there were questions potentially about who was it coming against. this is a formidable foe in UCLA and an elite pitcher in Del Vecchio, who hadn't conceded a home run yet this season in his 3 appearances. Here's the fastball, able to overpower him that time for 2-2.
And a good equalizer pitch there. 2-strike count after that home run. He wants to get this out.
Still just 1 out here in the top of the first. And that is smacked into the gap in right center. And that one will fly over the wall. Back-to-back home runs for the Commodores. Seizing on some prey here in Westwood. It's his first homer as well, as the Commodores take a commanding 4-0 lead.
And that ball got quickly out of here as head coach John Savage going out to talk to his starter. But yeah, that ball got out in a hurry. A line drive home run to right center field. Same spot as that previous home run we saw from Johnston. Mac Rose, a lefty in that box, sets up wide. And look at that swing right at the letters. And Del Vecchio seen some control issues leaving that pitch up. And yeah, that home run again right to exactly where that previous home run went. And John Savage going out to talk to his pitcher to calm him down, give him a breather after giving up 4 runs there in the span of 5 pitches or so. And he just wants to get back in that dugout and give the Bruins a chance to hit.
So much of this is a mental game if you're Del Vecchio, trying to recompose yourself here. As he brings the fastball, misses up and in to Colin Barcy. But again, when you go basically untouched through your first couple of outings, then you concede back-to-back homers against the 12th team in the nation, how do you settle yourself?
I think he just wants to get back in that zone. Del Vecchio seeing success in that first start against Cal Poly by keeping that ball down. These home runs, all on pitches up.
Barcy has taken 3 balls. And it seemed like he had some effectiveness using that breaking pitch, and once he started turning to the fastball, Vanderbilt's been reading it all the way into their bats. He's finally able to clip the zone that time for 3-1.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the approach that UCLA has offensively against pitchers they've faced. Work these counts, let these pitchers come to them. Del Vecchio not throwing a ton of strikes, and that pitch count ballooning to 30.
Popped foul for 3-2. And again, one thing to remember, he was exclusively utilized as a reliever last year. In fact, he was the Bruins' top reliever last season. So this is the first year pitching on the mound as a starter, getting used to having to set the tone for the team. So part of this can just be an adjustment to this new role. Payoff to Barcy, finally able to catch him looking, and there are 2 gone.
And good comeback, getting that strikeout looking on that fastball on the outside part of the plate. Gave up 2 back-to-back home runs there and able to fight back and get that second out of the inning, 1 out away.
Brings up Mike Mancini, the junior out of Endwell, New York. Preseason first team All-American. It's interesting we highlighted R.J. Austin, but this team is littered with talent. They've been consistently the powerhouse in college baseball. Somehow have been overlooked by other ranked teams in the SEC. Kind of hard to believe. You think of Tennessee winning the College World Series last year, #1 team, now they're #3. Texas A&M was #3 last year, now they're #1 this year. That conference is absolutely loaded.
Yeah, really good off speed. Looked like a changeup there. Get 2 strikes. But yeah, to your point, the SEC always loaded, and Vanderbilt 56 games this season, 30 against opponents who made it to the NCAA tournament last season. So pretty stacked gauntlet of teams.
1-2 fastball, lays off, 2-2.
And to their credit, they're already 8-1 to start the year. Their loss coming up against 24 Nebraska, their second game.
That one is slicing foul. Good read on it for Mancini. He's been on a tear. Granted, the sample size is small, but batting .667 in now his 5th appearance of this season. And the lefty takes high.
Try to get him on that high fastball. 3-2 count. He's got to give in. Doesn't want to walk this guy. Wants to get out of this inning. So he might have to throw something in the zone.
Fouls it off.
Yeah, just a straight challenge fastball, 3-2 count. Still leaving it a bit up. That swing, he was right on it, fouled it straight back. One more chance for Mancini to put some good wood on it.
Mancini calling for time. And again, we've seen a lot of the fastballs, the curveball. Will we see the slider here potentially? 3-2. Can't keep the fastball in the zone. And an excellent job by Mancini to not only work the count full, but then draw the second walk of this inning for Vandy.
Yeah, and Delvecchio so far this season, before this start, 9 2/3 innings pitched, 4 walks. So control definitely something to consider, especially early on in this start. And we look at that pitch count too, almost at 40 pitches, and he's not out of the first inning yet. And it'll be interesting to see if UCLA needs to go to the pen early, as I think might see somebody warming up in the pen.
Jacob Humphrey, who even in the 8-hole as they go to the pitch out, and Kyle Randall getting loose in the bullpen for UCLA. Again, you wonder if part of this has to do with the competition on the other side, throwing a little bit more anxiously as they throw back over again to first. Maybe perhaps contributing to some of those location struggles.
Certainly, and definitely it's been on their minds going into this series. This weekend, UCLA facing Vandy, UConn, and USC. So all three pretty formidable opponents individually, let alone in this tournament and in one weekend.
Come on.
One slider, 2-1.
And in that loss to ASU on Wednesday, a couple of nights ago, it was tough for UCLA to get the bats going, and they couldn't get that key hit. And so we'll see when they get back in the dugout if they can put a dent.
Able to go through them that time. Can they mitigate the damage here just to 4 runs? Give their offense a chance. I mean, you mentioned they did struggle against ASU in the second game, but today's a fresh opportunity. And he gets him with the slider. So he's able to strike out 2 of the final 3 that he faces, but he does give up back-to-back homers. Brody Johnston and Mac Rose taking him deep and giving Vandy a 4-0. Well, the Bruins offense now staring at a 4-0 deficit, hoping Dean West, as the table setter, can set the tone for the Bruins offense that struggled to come up with hits in Game 2 against Arizona State, just 4, which was a season low. The top of the lineup has been pretty much the same, with Cholowski and Lavu Roman Martin batting in the cleanup spot. Jared Hawking rounding out the top 5. But there's Peyton Brennan back in the starting lineup so far this season. He has been really effective, batting .444 through the first 3 games against Cal Poly, and of course went on to miss bottom. Some changes with Cameron Kim, who's been utilized as a pinch hitter in some games, now earning the starting nod at the bottom of the lineup. But Dean West, if you're looking for positives for UCLA, he's someone that can be an instant source of offense for this team.
Yeah, and they're going to face off here against J.D. Thompson, a big lefty from Rusk, Texas, and someone who 3 ERA so far this season, had ERA over 4 last season, and an ERA of over 5 his freshman year. But at the same time, hey, Coach Corbin, excited about this guy. A lot of good stuff, can get that fastball pretty up there, and that calm demeanor is what we heard about during the pregame. And definitely he's not going to show his emotions, but he's going to keep that composure on the bump.
Has that rising fastball primarily in the low 90s. It's understandable to be excited about him, ranked as the number 12 starting pitcher in Division I baseball preseason rankings. As Dean West takes the ball to begin his first at-bat, a top 40 overall ranked junior. Obviously, it's all semantics when it comes to rankings. It's such a subjective thing. But you talked about that demeanor. As he does plunk Dean West, though, perhaps that can ignite a little bit of momentum. Or will they say no, it clipped the bat before his hand. He can't believe it. He is wearing that protective brace over his hand. From our vantage point, it certainly looked like he caught skin as opposed to leather. As we take another look.
Yeah, let's look at that. It looked like a fastball that they were setting inside, and it looked like it hit him straight on the wrist, and that's exactly what West pointed to. Let's look at it from the side, and he's got that wrist guard. Yeah, that hit him straight on the Evo shield right there, and looks like the umpires are going to talk about it here in the middle of the infield. The crew, home plate umpire Scott Latendra, going out and talking to the other umps, but this seems pretty cut and dry, don't you think?
I certainly thought that. I said it with some confidence, thinking that it did plunk him. The umpires have been a lot busier than I think they expected to be in the first inning.
Yeah, between that challenge earlier, and yeah, I think even West didn't even flinch when it hit him, but he immediately pointed to the back of his hand.
And it looks like they're going to look, by the way, at the video assist replay for the second time.
Yeah, quite a way to start this battle between two good teams. But yeah, you talk about Dean West in that leadoff spot. Generally, his strength in that leadoff spot is working counts, hit by pitches also. 2 hit by pitches already this season and 10 walks. That's second in this lineup tonight behind Rock Chalowski, the 2-hitter. So they've been finding ways to get on, and certainly West a big reason for that.
In a situation like this, it's obviously so early in the game, but this kind of longer layoff, does that typically favor the batter or the pitcher in this kind of situation? As I'll have you hold that thought as they do grant Dean West that call as he's hit by a pitch. But from your experience, does that tend to favor a pitcher or a batter when you have that long layoff?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely favors the hitters. As we take a look at this replay one more time, yeah, pretty cut and dry, and kind of a reason why we love seeing that replay system here, and definitely getting these calls right is great, but puts Thompson in the stretch. And to your earlier question, though, it definitely favors hitters. Long breaks between innings and certainly challenges can kind of disrupt your tempo on the mound.
Rock Chalowski chasing after the first pitch. Has that electric bat. 387 this entire season, making his 10th start.
You know what you want, baby.
No sophomore slump concerns with him. Fastball catches the inner part of the plate for 0-2.
Hey, battle, baby. Hey, anything close, let's go.
See the 14 runs driven in, 3 homers already. Just a torrid pace offensively. West trying to catch the attention, and he certainly does.
West, the left fielder for the Bruins, and someone with some good speed out there. Definitely shown it so far this season. And
Southpaw misses outside, and he talked about the speed for Vandy. That really hasn't been showcased so much for UCLA in their starting lineup, just 4 stolen bases successfully.
yeah, their name of the game offensively this year has been working counts and getting that home run.
bluff of a tag, and it's ripped right into the glove of Barcy to strike out Chalowski.
Pretty meaty swing there on 2 strikes for Chalowski. It was kind of a challenge fastball down the middle of the plate. And that swing, they set up inside, and that fastball kind of finding its way a little over the plate, a bit of a mistake, but to your point, sometimes that's how it works out, and big swing and miss. Thompson with a chance to get out of this inning with a ground ball.
Levi Lavu stepping in, first plate appearance for him. He's got an interesting stance, too. He stands a lot closer to that inner part of the plate, almost daring opposing pitchers to try to strike him out on that inner part of the plate.
And he loves that inside pitch, too. A couple of home runs so far this year, 2, and all of them on that inside pitch.
Nasty breaking ball, but can't catch the outer corner.
And we talk about Thompson on the mound the last couple of years. Pretty good stuff, pretty decent control as well. 52 innings last year, only 18 walks.
Thompson brings the heat this time and fires it in there for a strike. They like this lefty-on-lefty matchup. UCLA possesses a lot of lefty hitters. That's part of the appeal, bringing on Thompson beyond just the nasty stuff. Part of it's a matchup decision. Again, they throw over to first. So Dean West has been driving some attention in that corner. He's only stolen 1 base, 2 attempts, though. So hasn't proven to be a huge threat, although you did highlight the speed that he has showcased. Perhaps just trying to tire him out a little bit, get in some leg day opportunities.
Yeah, and head coach John Savage, we talked about the lineup and these lefty hitters. Again, the lineup alternating between lefties and righties throughout helps them hit against any of these pitchers in the bullpen that Vandy brings out. Yeah, only 10 pitches so far for Thompson, but it feels like more with that challenge call break we had there in the middle.
Anything close.
I think that's the 5th throw over to first base.
Hey, stay locked in.
And early on, we're seeing this top of the lineup for the Bruins employing that strategy of working counts and letting this pitcher come to them. And they've got 1 runner on.
Southpaw deals. Did he go around it? Yes, he did. Back-to-back punch-outs for Thompson to record out number 2.
And good zip on that high fastball. Let's take a look at that last pitch. High fastball set up high behind the plate at the letters and kind of a check swing, but a check swing, and he was almost a full swing at that point. And 2 outs here, but we're seeing a good job by Thompson early on, just like Delvecchio, mixing up pitches, but seeing better success getting that K.
And a lot of efficiency as well, just 11 pitches, so you juxtapose that to the over 40 that Delvecchio was required to throw. Just kind of saves your arm, preserves your stamina a little bit more. And in a matchup like this, as the game continues to extend, they were hoping that J.D. Thompson could have an extended leash tonight. Breaking ball just dips below, 2-0.
In his past 2 starts, Thompson with 82 pitches in his previous outing against St. Mary's of Moraga. And in his first start at Grand Canyon had 77, so slowly extending that leash.
Fastball plastered in there for 2-2.
Went 4 innings against St. Mary's, and while he didn't have a ton of length, did strike out 5, walked 2, 3 earned runs.
12 starts last year. Already start number 3 this season. Again, West bluffs. And again, Roman Martin comes up empty.
And really good zip on that fastball. Not a ton of run on it, but getting kind of a high three-quarters release and seeing a lot of swings and misses on these high fastballs early on. Gives him a chance here to maybe go to it again.
And now they're in a pickle situation with West trying to dive for the bag, and they snuff it out. Nelson to Vastine, able to cut down Dean West. And Thompson's defense backs him up effectively. The roadside up by 4 heading into the second. Well, Jonathan Vastine was the only batter that didn't get a crack at it in the top of the first inning. Cody Delvecchio still getting the nod here to begin the second for UCLA. Was touched up, though, in the first inning. 44 pitches it took him to escape just that top of the lineup, and really the 8 of the first 9 batters for Vanderbilt. They were able to establish themselves in that batter's box early and often.
Yeah, they did a good job of just getting into Delvecchio's head. You talk about those 2 home runs, but even otherwise, that pitch count, definitely working the count and leading off the inning now. They're going to get to that top of the order pretty quickly at that second hitter. And Vandy in a good spot here to maybe strike some more and increase that damage here in the second.
When you think of this Commodores offense, Vastine isn't always the first player that comes to mind, and that's because he's so excellent on the defensive end. Led all shortstops in defensive runs saved in the SEC last year, 8th most nationally. So what he gives you on offense is just the cherry on top of the cake. But he's such a seasoned veteran, the senior. Over 160 games of experience, all coming in Nashville. And he fouls off the breaking ball for 1-2.
And a good job that previous pitch, a loopy curveball, and looked like a slider there maybe, or a cutter. Inside part of the zone, got that 2-strike count, and a good way to start the inning for Delvecchio. We mentioned that pitch count, but just getting ahead to start the inning.
Slider just missed the inner part of the plate. We talked about him starting to find his footing a little bit more. Delvecchio did strike out 2 of the last 3 batters he faced in the top of the first. Same exact spot, same result, 3-2.
Yeah, really wants that inside part of the plate. Vastine not going for it, but back at a full count.
Payoff pitch, got him with the fastball. Plastered over that inside corner, and it's strikeout number 3 for number 2.
Yeah, and that fastball on the inside part of the zone, staying on the inner half the entire at-bat. And that pitch, he might have gotten a little help on that call. Duggar set up on the outside part of the plate, right at the knees, but I think even Vastine there maybe wasn't thrilled about that call.
Sets up R.J. Austin once again, and he just smoked it foul. How long would it take you typically as a pitcher to understand what kind of leniency the home plate umpire is providing?
I think it just takes a couple of batters. I think certainly one time through the lineup you get a good feel. Tends to be on the corners or away, and sometimes you'll see a high zone too. But I think it just takes some time and a couple of edgy pitches, and at least so far what we're seeing is that home plate umpire Latendra, he's giving a little bit on the corners, and might be something for Delvecchio to exploit.
Austin grounded out to Chalowski at short his first time up, staring at an 0-2 count. Delvecchio deals upstairs.
And you see him set on the outside part of the plate there. But that pitch a little bit high. Wanted that pitch down and away.
It's pretty amazing when Delvecchio first stepped on campus here in Westwood. The starting velo of his fastball was 94 miles an hour. And you just think about how he's continued to refine his location a little bit more, really starting to showcase over the last few batters faced. what he's made of, although that is lined right up the middle for Austin. You knew you couldn't keep him down long, and he collects his first hit of the night.
Yeah, and Austin, again, coming into this game hitting around 440. Tied for most hits, leads the SEC rather, in hits, and he kind of showed why there. That pitch left over the middle part of the zone, and he just took it right back where it came from, and Chalowski, the shortstop, set up in the hole towards third base, so an easy single, and now that speed, another threat against the Bruins.
Rigdon reached base his first time up. You talked about Austin. 62 hits as a freshman, led the team with 81 last season. Already this year with 16. It's kind of had an infectious effect, as that's an intentional pitch out. Austin 6 for 6 on stolen base opportunities this year.
And a lot of attention placed to Austin. Again, we talked about his speed. And as we see here, Cal Randall, a sophomore, warming up for the Bruins.
Austin's going to go. A pitch out. Can they make the play in time to second? Yes, they can. Duggar to Chalowski, making the play in time.
And that pitch, a fastball up, and Duggar might have even been a pitch out, and Duggar in a really advantageous position there to get that ball quickly and throw it to second against that plus speed. Yep, definitely a pitch out. And that throw perfect right up the line, and Chalowski easy tag. And there you go.
And you could see they were trying to execute that in the first inning, but just weren't quite in sync. They convert that time, as Rigdon is cut down on the strikeout, and a 2-3 putout for Duggar to Lavu. So a much better inning for Cody Del Vecchio, and the defense recording again 2 strikeouts here in the inning, giving his offense another chance. Bottom of the second. The head man in his 23rd season, Tim Corbin, allowing the youthful nature to commence from his team. Listen, they've had a lot to celebrate so far in the early going of this one. As J.D. Thompson, who was excellent in the first inning, cutting down the final 2 batters that he saw. Got some assistance from a pickle situation to end the first. Roman Martin back in. UCLA's offense needing a spark, and takes an off-speeder. And it's interesting because we saw early on in the season, Sid, especially against Cal Poly, the UCLA batters were a lot more patient. They were allowing pitches to come to them a little bit more, whereas the last few sets, they've been attacking opposing pitchers with a little bit more ferocity.
Yeah, it's definitely changed depending on the opponent, and here a quick 3-0 count. Martin had a pretty good start in that series, been pretty slow with the bat since then. Only hitting 200 at the moment, but looking to get on base.
Takes a strike there. Despite the offensive woes against Arizona State in Game 2, Roman Martin was actually the lone bright spot. Had 2 hits of the 4. Second time this season that he's collected at least 2 hits in a contest, so he's been in a little bit of a groove, and he draws a 5-pitch walk as he nods to his dugout to begin the second.
And hey, get on base any way you can, and UCLA definitely has taken advantage of getting that walk, that hit by pitch, and we've seen that from West with the hit by pitch, and now Martin with the walk. And hey, they'll take it. They just want to put a dent in this lead.
Like you said, they had Dean West over at first to begin the bottom half of the first inning. They couldn't advance him. Got caught in the pickle situation as Jared Hawking, who filled in nicely to replace Peyton Brennan. He slid up in the starting lineup when Brennan went down, but has been playing pretty well recently, collecting a hit in 5 of his last 6 games. settled nicely into this 5-hole. And he fouls it out of play, 0-2.
And a good bounce back at bat for Thompson. Gave up that walk. Quick 0-2 count. And he's been having some success, at least early, getting that swing and miss. He's wanting to get one here or get a ground ball double play.
0-2 from Thompson, just fouls it off. Hawking has demonstrated a versatility that Coach Savage and this coaching staff admires. Last season, he was the starting left fielder. He's been moved around a whole lot, playing predominantly right field this season on offense, trying to establish himself as well, batting just .241. And he's able to chip it. It's going to roll foul. May have had an infield single had that stayed in.
Bit of a swinging bunt right off the end of the bat. And he's just trying to protect the plate. Again, an 0-2 count, so he's just trying to put bat on ball. And yeah, to our earlier conversation, again, this offense seeing success working the count, getting that pitch count up. And they want to do the same here against Thompson, who has shown pretty good control in his first 2 seasons. He's looking to get the K.
Martin with a modest lead over at first. And that slider is smoked, and it's fair, rolling into the corner. A chance for Martin, and he's held up at third on the stand-up double delivered by Jared Hawking.
And what a 2-out approach by Hawking. Stayed in on that curveball and just pulled it down the left field line. Let's take a look at that swing, and look at that. He just stays back, keeps that weight on the back foot, and gets it past that third baseman, Johnston. And Martin from first base trying to score on it, but held up at third base, pumped the brakes there. And now they got runners in second and third here with Peyton Brennan coming up, who's been pretty hot before he got banged up. We'll see what he can do.
First at bat for the lefty hitter, and he takes it wide.
And a perfect answer back to that 4 spot. Again, no outs in the inning and a chance to cut this lead in half right here.
Thompson can't find the bottom of the zone, 2-0.
Pretty good pitch, nice curveball, but just missed the bottom part of the zone. A little bit of intensity we hear from the Bruin dugout, and maybe see if the momentum switches.
Fans a little bit more vocal as Thompson's granted the call that time. The only issue for UCLA is they've fallen behind in so many games this season. They've yet to lead from start to finish for more than 1 game this year. 2-1, got him swinging out in front, 2-2.
Yeah, just a solid off-speed pitch, but I think the fact that they have not really led a game in any of their wins so far kind of speaks to the resiliency of this offense and staying in the game, and they're trying to do the same.
Fastball missed outside. Thompson, I think, sarcastically nodding his head, disagreeing, and it runs full.
And we talked about umpire zones. That pitch on the outside part of the plate, but this time with a lefty, didn't get the call.
Brennan caught swinging, but can Barcy collect it in time? He did not. The fire was late to Nelson, and the bases stay loaded now.
And look, the rare drop third strike turning into a hit, and that, or turning into a runner. And that ball was not a pass ball, not a wild pitch. Just Barcy behind the plate couldn't quite locate that ball. And sometimes it's hard as a catcher on a pass ball like this where it's at your feet, just can't get a grip. And hey, bases loaded, now no outs. And the Bruins in a very prime position here to get some runs on the board, or at the very least put some pressure on Johnson here on the mound.
The sophomore Cameron Kim has yet to hit a home run in his Bruins career. First start of the season. Started 4 games last year. Pinch hit for A.J. Salgado in the 9th inning. Goes for glory on that first pitch. Comes up empty for 0-1.
Yeah, a huge swing. Tried to hit that one over the palm trees.
Hey, up the middle. Let's go now. Hey, find a spot.
A promising opportunity here. 0-2. Good pitch from Thompson.
Yeah, first pitch fastball, second pitch, kind of the same pitch on the inside part of the plate. Kim might have been looking off speed because that's what we've been seeing from Thompson, that alternating of fastball and off speed.
Flies it out of play, so it stays alive in the count. One thing that you don't hope for right now if you're Kim is a ground ball in the infield. If you can avoid it, they can put a drive into this, have it extend into the outfield, at least try to collect a sac, fly if you can. Nobody away. It's a great opportunity to swing freely. 0-2, blast one into right field. It's a line drive, and it's caught by Humphrey. Tagging up and scoring, though, is Roman Martin. So the sac fly delivers the first run of the game for UCLA. Hawking will tag up and advance to third as well.
And if you're Kim, exactly what you want to do. To your point, got that liner to the right fielder, Humphrey, and Humphrey didn't even try to throw it to the plate, tried to throw it to third to try and get Hawking on the tag from second to third, and Martin with an easy score. And hey, just like that, the Bruins are on the board. It's a 4-1 game.
Still just 1 out for Cashel Duggar. Starting catcher here tonight for UCLA. 7th start of the season. And he takes strike 1.
And UCLA doing a better job this inning, putting some pressure on Thompson on the mound. He's at 36 pitches so far, so not necessarily a concern yet.
Showing bunt, laying it down. They will not attempt the throw to home. A sacrifice hit for Duggar does score Hawking, and it's 4-2.
And look at that fundamental baseball. Cut that lead in half with a push bunt. Just got it far enough towards the line there where Thompson on the mound couldn't really go to the plate and get that out at the plate. You see that ball. He bunted it towards second base, exactly what you want to do, and Thompson, his momentum moving towards first base, easy score. And just like that, 4-2.
Brennan takes second, and it's interesting that so early in the game they're turning to small ball, feeling this sense of urgency to score runs here in the second as that slider misses inside. But it speaks to the respect level they have for Thompson in the bullpen of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, trying to manufacture runs any way they can. And again, Vandy very much a pitching and defense team, and so is UCLA.
Call skies one. It's fair. Backing up just in shallow right was Nelson, who got bumped by Humphrey. They collided, but Nelson still held on. He checks on his teammate, and they secure the defensive stop, but not before 2 more runs come around for UCLA. Door in one of the biggest and brightest stages of college baseball here at Jackie Robinson Stadium.
And Vandy, obviously, a prolific program when it comes to getting to Omaha and putting a lot of faith here. Their 4-hitter, a true freshman, and definitely speaks to the faith that Tim Corbin has in him, but he showed it there with that opposite field power.
And it's interesting because one of the things Coach Corbin said was that they got a chance to see him during their winter camp his sophomore year of high school. And they've seen the maturity develop over the last several years. He possesses maturity that a lot of first-year players don't. And so they expected him to be an impactful player right away, and he certainly has been.
Taking birth control pills, side effects, and
even the ship that Tim Corbin runs for his team in general, almost run like a military operation as we were watching them during batting practice. A little bit of character for sure, but great composure as well.
Nelson bluffs, and Johnston just gets the edge of the bat to stay alive. He really grew in the Collegiate Appalachian League this past summer, excelled in that league, one of the most touted summer collegiate baseball leagues in the country. Came in with a lot of momentum this past fall. And right on cue again, puts a drive into left center, and a diving effort comes up short for Dean West. On the move is Nelson. He's rounding third, sprinting for home. The throw comes late. It's an RBI triple for Johnston. And the Commodores tack on an extra run here in the third.
So immediately with UCLA getting that 2 spot, Vandy answering back. And again, off that same bat that gave him a home run there, Nelson. And Johnson here at third base, rather. That ball hit pretty well into the left center gap. And let's take a look at that swing here and that path. That ball hit into the left center gap, and Brennan going for the ball, and it seemed like they might have miscommunicated. West going for the dive, and nobody backing up that play. Brennan off to the side. And it really speaks to communication and fundamentals being the core of any offense or defense, and coming to bite UCLA for a second there.
And we haven't seen too many aggressive shifts. Obviously, it's been outlawed to some extent. The closest we're getting, Phoenix called a second baseman, perhaps favoring that right field portion of the stadium. Understanding that Mac Rose likes to pull a lot. He also sent one deep into the gap in right center his last time up. Back-to-back homers for the Vandy boys, as they like to say back home. And Delvecchio got his elbow. That'll put runners at the corners for Vanderbilt here in the third.
That'll sting a little bit. Stung him right in the shoulder, the back of that right shoulder. And in a way, for Delvecchio, he's got a runner on first now and a chance for a double play. Granted, that run at third, Johnston would score. But Delvecchio up to 73 pitches so far, and so that pitch count, again, going to be a little bit of a consideration. We're not even with an out yet in the top of the third. And so UCLA probably going to be forced to go to that bullpen soon.
We saw Kyle Randall warming up the last couple of innings against Arizona State. They utilized 5 relievers after Rodriguez had an excellent starting outing. Little bluff there for Rose. They do have a lot of trust in their bullpen, does UCLA. A pen that has performed extremely well through the early portions of the season. Game 2 against Arizona State notwithstanding, as that is shot in to right. An easy jog on home for Johnston. An extra bag for Mac Rose. And an RBI single for Barcy extends Vanderbilt's lead 6-2.
Yeah, and Vandy with 7 hits already. And we haven't, again, gotten even an out in the third. And these are pretty solid hits. Again, just a good approach and hit that ball to right field. Bit of a dinker shot, but that's all you need to get that run in. As we see a mound visit here from head coach John Savage, and looks like he might go to the pen.
He just pointed to the pen, so that will be it for Cody Delvecchio. Going 2 full innings. But we're going to see who UCLA brings out onto the mound. We'll get that to you on the other side of the break. The junior out of Lafayette, Michael Barnett, coming in to relieve Cody Delvecchio. Since he has returned to activity for UCLA, he's been quite effective in his 2 appearances. You can see the record, 4.91 ERA, was suspended for the first 4 games of the season, which is why the Bruins didn't have him at their disposal. But in his 2 appearances against BYU and Michigan State, he's collected 11 strikeouts. He's been really effective and has had great command on the mound in those outings, Sid.
Yeah, no walks against BYU. Threw about 70 pitches in both outings, 4 innings against Michigan State. And you mentioned that strikeout total, definitely a lot of punch-outs, and he comes into a stressful situation, a bit of damage control, but wants to get out of this inning and not let that runner on third score.
Inheriting 2 runners at the corners, Rose at third and Barcy at first, as Mancini drew a walk his first time up, shows bunt, and takes ball 1.
Yeah, first pitch showing bunt. If he squares again, he's trying to put that push bunt down to get that runner in, avoid the double play. Again, no outs in the inning, so he's got a couple of options at the plate.
Shows bunt again, and a nice pitch inside for Barnett.
Yeah, based upon how he's squaring up, he's kind of close to the plate, which you want to do when you're squaring around to bunt. Might have been looking for a pitch on the outside part.
I compete up there. Stay locked in.
Does tip it foul, 1-2. Now if you're Barnett, it kind of unlocks a couple of extra opportunities. You have to expect if you're Cashel Duggar, perhaps a ball in the dirt right here with a 1-2 count.
Big out, baby. Let's go now.
Something to throw off the timing of Mancini, induce a ground ball here. Again, a bluff, and it's clipped into the glove of Duggar to retire Mike Mancini. So a good start damage control-wise for Barnett, his 12th K of the year and his first in this outing tonight.
First batter in, first K. That's exactly what you want out of the pen. Yeah, and that pitch, just a pitch left up. And that swing, kind of flailing at that pitch there. And yeah, I mean, just Mancini swing and a miss.
The tough part is you're taking on Jacob Humphrey, who's the 3rd Vandy player that is currently batting over 400 this season. The lineup doesn't ease up at all, even as you shift towards the bottom of the lineup. He was, though, struck out by Del Vecchio his first time up, and he takes a breaking ball inside.
And something interesting there, that off-speed left up, but you see Duggar behind the plate, kind of setting up on the outside, and that curve or slider coming back in makes it hard to frame it for a strike. If he was set up middle, might have gotten the call.
Runner goes this time. Fly into shallow right. Charging forward is Hawking, who's going to call at the last second and does well to throw it back in the infield quickly to hold up Rose at third.
And a little pop-up there behind first base. And call going out to shallow right. And they end up getting that catch and that runner at third. Rose not able to score.
And a nice job by Barnett collecting 2 quick outs.
Exactly, and that's what you need. 7 pitches in. Got that strikeout and a quick pop-out. Now he can get out of this inning unscathed.
Bastine steps in to try to extend the inning for Vandy. Takes a fastball off the plate. And it's interesting because Cashel Duggar is such a mobile and active catcher. We've seen him spring up a lot more times than it looked like Blake Baltz did against Arizona State. Just provides a little bit something extra behind the dish for UCLA.
Yeah, very mobile catcher, and both Baltz and Duggar behind the plate doing a great job of limiting the pass ball. Haven't seen a lot of that, and they've been really good backstops for UCLA so far.
2-0, and that's smoked right over the head of Chalowski. That's going to score at least Rose. Turning is Barcy. He's waved home. The throw's not going to come in time, and a 2 RBI double for Vastine extends Vanderbilt's lead to 6 here in the top of the 3rd.
And how quickly the complexion of an inning can change, right? We had 2 outs. Barnett comes in, gets the strikeout, gets the fly out. And just like that, those runs score in a 6-run lead. And let's take a look at this swing, just a short stride. Took it the other way over Chalowski's head, a line drive. And Brennan playing towards right field, can't stop it as it gets to that Garrett Cole sign there in center field. Easy double. And Vandy answers. UCLA got 2 in the bottom of the second, and Vandy now 4.
And it also highlights the exceptional base running, because for other teams, maybe a drive like that holds up a base runner at third, and we've seen just how aggressively they're rounding that third base bag. So it sets up R.J. Austin.
Yeah, and definitely a team, as we talked about in the open, a team that prides itself on speed and maybe not necessarily the home run. And R.J. Austin, one of those key reasons for the Commodores. And he's one of 2 hitters, one of 3 hitters, maybe even 4 rather, in this lineup, hitting over 400. And while they might not get that dinger, as UCLA has certainly seen in the last couple of games, they've been getting a lot of hits to get those runs in.
That smacked foul certainly had the height and the depth. Eliciting some ooze from the crowd here in attendance. You and I were talking about it. An excellent showing from both sides. Pretty much full capacity nearly here at Jackie Robinson Stadium to usher in this Southern California College Baseball Classic as Austin draws the walk inside. And the inning will continue. Little 2-out rally here for Vandy.
Yeah, and R.J. Austin able to get a lot of walks so far this season. And you mentioned the crowd being excited, a almost full Jackie Robinson Stadium. And R.J. Austin, someone who is also very excited to be here, of course, Jackie Robinson Stadium. And Austin wearing the number 42 for the Commodores. See it right there. And he was definitely very pumped to be here in L.A. and play at this namesake in this stadium.
We saw during batting practice how comfortable this entire team looked. They were connecting on pitches extremely well, very locked in as a group. They've won 7 straight. In fact, they've already collected 8 wins this month. The last time Vanderbilt recorded 8 wins in February was 2018. They went 8-1 in the first month of the season. Advanced to the NCAA Super Regionals. That's put on the ground to second. And Call's going to call his own number to end the inning. A quick flip to first, but extra damage was done. 4 more runs tacked on here in the inning. 6-point lead for Van. Regimented and unique take on celebrating in the outfield for Vanderbilt. Clearly it's not a fluke. They are kind of commiserating every single evening, every single inning. Look at the uniformity there. How many times do you think they had to practice that?
Yeah.
That's what fall training's about.
Exactly. And there's John Savage, UCLA's head coach.
Unfortunately, he can't enjoy seeing that. Came in with a lot more optimism coming into tonight. In his 21st season, his career in Westwood has overlapped the career of Corbin. Those two so familiar with one another, of course. Savage directing UCLA to their lone NCAA title in 2013 as Dean West steps in for a second at bat to begin the bottom of the third, where the Bruins were connected at the top of the inning, trailing only by 2. Vanderbilt pouring it on once again. Another 4-inning barrage. And it just kind of sucks the life out of you when you feel like you're right back in it, and then the offense has to go to work staring at another extended deficit here.
Yeah, your point well taken. Not only got a 2 spot, but now that lead's bigger than when they got that 2 spot. And Look at West here in the batter's box. Hitting only 188 on the season doesn't tell the whole story. Again, we talked about his ability to draw walks and even that hit by pitch earlier.
And West is cut 2-2.
And Thompson at 43 pitches, pitch count looking great and really doing a good job here of getting that fastball by these hitters. We remember West in his first at-bat swinging and missing.
Protective swing, stays alive.
But I think West's strength, even if it's not showing in that batting average so far, is that ability to work counts and get on base. And that's what you want your leadoff hitter to do.
West was particularly strong in that department towards the bottom half of the season last year, closing out, reaching about a 500 pace. That's a one hop to first, and Nelson's able to call everybody off and step on the bag himself, unassisted for the first out.
And UCLA wanting to get that leadoff hitter on, especially to answer back, and they've got Rock Chalowski here hoping to change their fortunes. UCLA only one hit so far, Jonah, through these 2 innings that they've hit so far. Vandy with 8. Of course, 10 runs scored in total so far during this game.
Chalowski was struck out his first time up and takes a curveball to begin his second at bat. And it's interesting, something that Coach Corbin said when describing Thompson. He said he's really a throwback player. There's no instructions to coaching him. Here's a ball, here's a glove, now go pitch. And it just speaks to how much of a gamer he is and how much they appreciate that spirit in Nashville.
Yeah, and we talked about his composure earlier too. Again, that bulldog mentality, but doesn't necessarily wear it on his sleeve. Cool as a cucumber.
Got back against the screen. If you had a glove, you would have had an opportunity to snag it.
I was ready.
You ever make any highlight snags back in your day on the mound?
Oh man, it was always the comebacker. That was always. There were a couple times where I just played, you know, a little footsie with the ball, try to, you know, kick it off my foot, get it to a second baseman or something like that. But you always love when that comebacker comes right to you, and you get that glove, and it's a bit of a look what I found. And hey, you'll take the out, and you'll take not getting smacked on the dome.
2-2 for Chalowski, goes around swinging, and is cut down. Another strikeout for Thompson. He's been effective and efficient, his 4th of the night, and there are quickly 2 away here in the 3rd.
And Chalowski quiet here through his first 2 at-bats. First at-bat was a K, and this one another one, K swinging in the dirt. And it might have been on a similar pitch, actually, Jonah. Pitch in the dirt, off speed. And he's kind of the tinderbox for this lineup, and they rely on his bat.
Now, interestingly, though, recently, Mulivai Lavu has arguably been the hottest hitter for UCLA. At least a hit in 4 straight games. The starting first baseman, just a sophomore out of Huntington Beach. It's kind of overlooked in this lineup, but connecting well on that. On the shift, a little bobble from Mancini, and he's able to beat out any potential throw. So Lavu doesn't care how he reaches base. It'll go down as the first error of the contest, and the Bruins will take it with 2 outs here in the 3rd.
Yeah, and it looks like he got to that ball in the hole, Mancini, as he moves to his left. Not even a bad hop. I think he just took his eye. Yeah, just took his eye off the ball, maybe. And we've seen that a couple of times here at Jackie Robinson Stadium. A little slick here at night. Is that ruled an error? And little sign of life.
Sometimes that transfer when you're peeking up, you have those floodlights right in your face. As Roman Martin takes a strike, perhaps this can spur a 2-out rally.
And the Thompson's credit so far, 2 2/3 innings and 4 Ks, all in 53 pitches. And he's been looking pretty smooth out there so far. Only 1 walk.
Relative ease for him.
And if you're UCLA, you want to answer back as quickly as you can, especially with that 4 spot there in the third by Vandy.
Martin comes up empty on the breaking ball, 1-2.
And you see that big loopy lefty curveball. And you love a lefty with some zip on his fastball, and certainly Thompson has it, but has that ability to counter it with that really loopy off speed. Good pitch.
Flies one into right. Humphrey on the move, shifting over a couple steps to his left and holds on to end the inning. So Lavue's able to reach on the air, but they leave him stranded. Still an 8-2 game. There's coming up for Vanderbilt as we're through 3 innings here in Westwood. Sid Iyer, Jonah Malkin, happy to be with you. Brody Johnston on deck has been sensational tonight. A 3-run homer, an RBI triple. Riley Nelson has preceded him, coming around to score right before him, as Michael Barnett, who had come in to relieve Cody Delvecchio, his night is done. CJ Bott checking in for UCLA out of the pen. A little bit of damage control and opportunity to insert a fresh arm here to begin the 4th. Young player, just a freshman. CJ Bott has shown a lot of potential. Was used in the 5th inning of Game 2 against Arizona State to at least face the minimum. Liked that righty matchup. And then was taken out once lefties came into the batter's box for the Sun Devils. 5th appearance already in his freshman campaign.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. As you mentioned, 4 appearances so far, and came in against Arizona State a couple of days ago through 2/3 of an inning. No runs given up so far in his collegiate career.
They're hoping that stat continues. As the first pitch to Riley Nelson is taken for ball 1. Felt like the Bruins had a grasp on this game. In the top of the 3rd inning, again, another 4-run eruption for Vandy. Extended the lead, and perhaps that's altered some of the thinking of how Coach Savage and his coaching staff is utilizing the bullpen tonight. As that breaking ball misses inside for 2-1.
And Vandy coming, of course, from the SEC, and UCLA in the Big Ten this year. Certainly both great conferences. Yeah, we talked about Vandy's schedule this year, 30 against opponents who made the NCAA tournament last season. 6 of Vandy's opponents were ranked in the D1 preseason poll, including 5 in the top 10.
That's lifted into left. On the move is West. Maybe took 1 step over to his right to collect the first out. And you highlighted their schedule coming up. They're going to need this man to continue to rake. Brody Johnston on fire tonight, 2 for 2, 2 runs scored, a 3-run homer, and an RBI triple his last time up, running through the bag extremely well. All the base runners have been fantastic tonight on an efficient 8 runs on 8 hits for Vanderbilt.
Really big swing, and to your point, home run and triple already. He's got the hardest parts of the cycle completed. Of course, we'd need a double and a single. Another big swing there.
That's looping into shallow right, and falling back is Phoenix Call to make the catch.
Yeah, deceptively a difficult play as he's moving towards his back, towards shallow right field, and has to worry about hawking there in right field, but able to make the grab.
Again, having to contend with those floodlights as well, trying to keep track of that ball. It almost escaped the glare of some of those flashlights as well.
Yeah, and we even saw in that ASU game a couple of nights ago, I believe it was A.J. Salgado in center field, lost that ball in the lights. And certainly these lights here at Jackie Robinson Stadium, not super high relative to maybe a professional stadium, but can make it challenging as you take a look at it there. As that ball gets hit, it can make it tough. If you lose that ball in the lights, you're going to lose it for a while, and that's exactly what happened.
C.J. Bott, number 2 right-handed pitcher out of the state of Arizona. 1-2, and like clockwork, a quick 3 up, 3 down, the easiest inning for the Bruins tonight. They retire the side and keep this a 6-score game. Bottom of the 4th, coming up next. His part as a look at some of the fans fighting through what is deceptively a chilly night here in Westwood. We see a couple of short sleeve polos, but for the most part some puffier jackets as displayed by that one young fan. Taking a look at J.D. Thompson and the kind of night that he has put together, with the exception of being touched up in the second inning. He's been pretty efficient, 56 pitches, 4 strikeouts, as he begins his 4th inning of work.
Yeah, big thing, only 1 hit given up so far. And this UCLA lineup kept pretty quiet so far. They've had some runners come on and, of course, had those 2 runs score in the second, but been pretty quiet since then.
Jared Hawking comes up empty for 1-1. They've been the comeback kids. We saw them mount a couple of huge comebacks versus Washington State, trailing 6-1 through 5 innings. Then they scored 3 runs in the 8th and the 9th, overcoming 2 errors as well. In fact, the crazy thing in that game was that all 3 runs in the 9th were on free bases. 2 hit by pitches, a walk-off Jared Hawking walk. Fouls back the fastball to stay alive. It's just 1 for 8 against Arizona State in their midweek set. Again, had been playing pretty well offensively coming into this tournament. In fact, he delivered the lone hit that you referenced as well.
That's right. And Thompson here staying high. All these last 3 pitches, high fastballs. Hawking swung and missed at 1 and then fouled another one off. Took that one, bit inside.
And cuts him down. Strikeout number 5 for Thompson. It's so interesting because we've seen predominantly fastballs that he throws in the lower 90s. But the coaches were telling us that he's kind of been developing that changeup a little bit more as well. We haven't seen him utilize it so much on those 3rd strike pitches. He's been able to effectively retire these UCLA batters using the fastball predominantly, but he also has that in his arsenal.
Yeah, and I think to his credit, again, here in the 4th inning, 2 runs, got touched up there in the 2nd, but UCLA not really been able to get, well, 1 hits, but 2 hit that fastball. And, you know, if you're Thompson on the mound, just go back to it. But he's been doing a pretty good job of mixing his speeds, to your point. And we've seen that loopy 12-6 curveball, and that looked like a slider. But that fastball doing a lot of the heavy lifting tonight.
Thompson again going with another breaking ball on the inside corner. This time is able to strike out Brennan Looking. Struck him out both times. Unfortunately, the last time Brennan was still able to reach after a mishandle from Barcy behind home plate. But he's able to pave that inside part of the plate.
Yeah, and you see Barcy set up on the outside part of the plate, and I don't think Brennan liked that call, and he might have some truth in that reaction. It looked a bit inside, but the ump's been calling that against lefties. And we talked about how zones can change, or certainly understanding an ump's zone throughout a night is critical, and we've seen a couple of times now with lefty hitters in the box, pitchers are getting that call on the inside part of the plate down low.
Kim delivered a sacrifice fly his last time up. Has quickly fallen behind 0-2 though.
Yeah, one of the best swings the Bruins have had so far. A line-out sac fly to right field. Humphrey didn't even throw to the plate.
Days off, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Of course, he's part of such a loaded sophomore class. We've highlighted Chalowski and Dean West. AJ Salgado came in as heralded sophomore entering this season. And that 1-2 catches the outer part of the plate. Looked to be a tight call from Scott Letendre, but it works out to J.D. Thompson's favor. He strikes out the side to make quick work of the Bruins. He's got 6 on the night, and Vanderbilt is rolling as we're through 4 innings here in Westwood. On to the 5th when we return. Well, the middle of the lineup has been the most effective for Vanderbilt tonight, contributing the bulk of the 8 hits that have been collected by the Commodores, and Colin Barcy has done a fantastic job framing behind home plate tonight. But that's the job of a catcher. He delivered an RBI single his last time up. He's been exceptional when he's needed to be, and really possesses a calming characteristic. This team loves having him behind home plate. They've talked about him being a central figure for us this entire season, just an important part of the lineup. And again, as a strength that he's situated right now, he is slotted in the 6 hole, but it highlights there really aren't any weaknesses, no drop-offs in productivity as you get to the bottom of the order.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, multiple 400 hitters.
Puts it on the ground to call. He's able to cover it up and make the play in time.
And Bott doing a good job here in his previous inning, and certainly the start of this one, of getting that first batter out. A clean inning last inning, and off to another good start. They really needed it after Vandy put up that 4 spot in the first and another 4 spot in the third. And hoping to get into that dugout as quick as possible.
Mancini 0 for 1 with a walk. And when we got a chance to talk with the UCLA staff about the utilization of CJ Bott, for the most part, they discussed trying to kind of ease his way into this season, not trying to bring him into too many high stressful situations, but the way that he's been pitching in a game like this, set aside the score, seems to be earning some more stripes in that dugout.
Yeah, 5th career appearance.
It's just a nasty curveball as well.
Yeah, and again, no runs given up, and I just want to take a second here to remind us that Bott's a true freshman here, coming in to pitch against number 12, Vandy, early in his college career.
It's a great point you bring up, because you can lose sight of that fact when you look at the score. But it's in these types of situations where the coaching staff learns a lot about what kind of relievers they have in that pen.
Absolutely.
That one slipped out of his hand a little bit, and the count runs full.
Yeah, this Vandy lineup, no joke. 8 for 20 so far tonight, and 4 for 8 with runners on. 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Brings the fastball and sticks it in there. Nice strikeout for CJ Bott, the freshman, now collecting his 2nd punch-out of the night.
And a really clean fastball. Just kind of painted it on that outside part of the plate. Let's take a look at that pitch real quick. Look at this. Right on the outside part of the plate. Duggar with a solid frame there, set up on the outer half.
go to that secondary off-speeder there, just distracting Jacob Humphrey, who's 0 for 2. And not exactly the kind of bunt he was hoping for, or perhaps it was. It stays in long enough for him to beat out the throw. Duggar couldn't corral it underneath, and it works out into his favor. I don't know if he wanted to pop it up for quite as long, but heads up base running, didn't take a peek back, ran through the bag, and it's a 2-out infield single for Humphrey.
Yeah, he kind of popped this bunt up, didn't get a lot of length on it, and Duggar did a pretty good job getting to it, turning quickly, making that throw, but Humphrey with some solid speed. He did a little peek there, but his speed able to get him there to first base.
And there's the pitch out. A throw back to first is just a half a beat late. So again, you see that alertness from Duggar behind the dish.
And again, we talked about how Vandy, not a home run hitting squad by any means. They've got a couple of hitters in this lineup with a home run apiece. R.J. Austin, Riley Nelson, Brody Johnson, Mac Rose. Of course, Johnson and Rose, we saw their home runs earlier tonight. And Vastine in the 9th spot with a home run as well.
That slicing fair into left on the move is West, and he's able to track it down and watch it all the way into his glove. So another fantastic outing from the freshman C.J. Bott. They leave one stranding. Does Vandy? Bruins bats back up. Cashel Duggar taking on J.D. Thompson, who's beginning his 5th inning of work. He's been supported by an electric offense, producing 8 runs on 9 hits, 6 strikeouts for the junior southpaw, who has been in his bag this entire evening.
Yeah, and he's done a good job of mixing pitches. Those first couple of strikeouts there on off speed, but he's been getting ahead of these hitters with that fastball. A lot of swings and misses, especially up in the zone. And again, we talked about how he's got good zip on that pitch. And a pretty complete game from him. That 2-spot UCLA put up in the 2nd, but aside from that, he's been looking great. Only 1 hit given up so far.
Preseason All-SEC second-team selection. Also preseason All-American third-team selection for J.D. Thompson as he takes on Cashel Duggar to begin the 5th. He delivered a sacrifice bunt his last time up in the 2nd. Starting catcher has played extremely well tonight throughout the season, and he gladly turns his back to take that one squarely on the body. He'll take the pain and walk over to first.
Yeah, and they've had trouble getting that leadoff hitter on base. We remember Dean West similarly took a hit by pitch, and that one got him square in the back. And he's like doing some calisthenics there as he got hit. And now a little life. Maybe we see a little rally, or at least some sort of energy from this UCLA lineup. Again, only 1 hit so far, and we're in the bottom of the 5th. So gonna need to see something here.
What's been pretty impressive is in 3 of the first 5 innings, the leadoff man has reached base for UCLA. But just 1 hit tonight. As Phoenix Call sends it one back.
That went into the parking lot.
Really low-key guy is Phoenix Call. Sophomore out of Porter Ranch. He's 0 for 7 against Arizona State. And he sends one deep into left. It's in foul territory, and Rigdon gave it a go, but had to watch it sail over. Yeah, took a hit on the top of the shed there.
Yeah, solid swing. And Call, we've seen him out there at second base, made some good plays defensively for the Bruins so far this year. A couple of diving plays we've seen earlier this season.
1-2 breaking ball just dips below the zone. 1-2.
Yeah, and we see Thompson has been starting off these hitters, kind of challenging them with the fastball, and we've seen some swings and misses, but tries to go to that off speed, and again, that loopy curveball could go up with the fastball here if he wanted.
This time he does bring the fastball. That's driven into center. On the move is Brennan, R.J. Austin out in center field, and he makes the catch for the first out.
Yeah, and we talk about pitch sequencing for a quick sec here. Thompson, again, with that loopy curveball, changes the eye level of the hitter, goes back to that high fastball, and I think Call expecting it certainly, but put some good wood on it. But now back to the top of the lineup for UCLA, and again, West had that hit by pitch earlier, and maybe you can get some life going with the bat directly.
They could certainly use it. He's been struggling 188 as a hitter this year. Again, it's that on-base percentage that's above 400 on the season. 6 hits, 9 runs driven in this year. That left the glove of Barcy just long enough for Duggar to swipe second.
And Duggar unhitching the trailer. He's got those catcher's legs. Always my favorite player to see run as a catcher, because you know he's really booking it down the line. As we see a quick mound visit here. But you talked about Dean West real quick. I think one thing that's really interesting about him, we talked about how that batting average doesn't tell the whole story. Again, hitting 182, but 9 RBIs this season, 10 walks. So more times getting on base on balls. And of course, you mentioned those couple of hit by pitches as well he's had. And he's been productive in his own way. As you talked about, his on-base percentage over 400 and OPS at over 800. And so he's been effective.
Of course, he's related to Chasten West, who's a wide receiver in the NFL from 2010 to 2012, winning a Super Bowl ring with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers back in 2011.
It's a good bloodline.
Yeah. Fortunately for Aaron Rodgers, though, Matthew Stafford re-signed with the Rams, so he will need to seek his services elsewhere. 2-1 to West. Lines one into right, and right into the glove of Humphrey to hold up Duggar at second.
And that's sometimes how the cookie crumbles. He put an excellent swing on that pitch, a line drive, but just right to that right fielder, Humphrey. And you even heard the crowd with an ooh. A pretty significant one, considering we've got a packed crowd tonight. And, yeah, just a little bit of bad luck, but if they can keep swinging it and get some good contact, those balls are going to fall. And they could really use it with this 6-run deficit. And Chalowski could be one of these guys who could get that run in, certainly. Runner on second.
And one of the interesting things said by Will Owens, their SID for Vandy, is that J.D. Thompson doesn't always throw for strikes and strikeouts. He's kind of a contact pitcher. He's okay with batters making clean contact, and we've seen throughout the night that UCLA has put some metal together, but it just hasn't resulted in any base hits with the exception of one time.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's a very good point. They have had a couple of solid swings, but nothing to show for it, and Chalowski kind of one example of that. Chalowski, of course, hitting 360, 364, and been quiet tonight at the plate.
He's just the guy, if they were going to unlock this proverbial lid here, ignite this offense with a 2-out rally, He's 0 for 2. Takes a fastball that clips the top part of the corner for 1-2.
Yeah, Chalowski finding himself in these not great counts, and he swung and missed on these strikeouts with off speed in the dirt, and if I were Thompson, I might want to do the same.
Two, and that breaking ball doesn't get the call. No, he does. 2-2.
Yeah, kind of another example there. They went to that off speed, but he did a better job, Thompson that is, getting that ball in the dirt in his previous 2-strike offerings to Chalowski. That one a little bit higher at the shins.
Chalowski has reached base every single game, as that's going to be a pitch clock violation, and move this to a full count situation, making it 3-2. First violation we've seen tonight. Judgment got him inside. A fastball from J.D. Thompson retires the side and retires Chalowski for the third time tonight. The 7th K for number 22. It's been all Vanderbilt through 5. Coming in out of the pen to relieve C.J. Bott, the freshman, who was really impressive in his 2 innings of work, a pair of strikeouts, just 1 hit. He's kept this a 6-run game, and he passes the baton to the redshirt junior out of Roseville, California. Made his Bruins and collegiate debut in Game 2 against Cal Poly. Despite the older age, he hadn't appeared in a game the previous 3 seasons. Last appearance was in Game 2 against Arizona State, was the 4th reliever used out of the pen. He entered in the 7th inning, went 1 1/3 innings pitched with 1 hit, 0 runs, and a walk. In fact, it was the longest outing for him this season. Trying to keep this a 6-run game, as he's staring right back at the heart of the order in the top of the lineup with R.J. Austin, who has reached base his last 2 times.
And Austin with a pretty mighty cut there. He's been aggressive at the plate, a couple of good swings, and we might remember that foul ball he hit that was basically a home run foul.
That should go down as a potential stat in some way. Potential home run based on depth. If it exceeds 330 feet, as is the case over in left field tonight.
Yeah, I love, especially for major league games, they have like the ballpark factor.
Correct. That's on the ground to short. Brief bobble from Chalowski, but he's able to sidearm it in time to cut down Austin.
And he's definitely excited to not have Austin's wheels out there at first base to start the inning. A good start for Alger.
8 runs, 9 hits, 1 error tonight for Vanderbilt, backing up their number 12 ranking in style, as Rustin Rigdon steps in and was expecting a fastball to be thrown. Just able to foul it off for 0-1. This Vanderbilt team trying to advance past the NCAA regionals this year. They've been bounced in the regionals the last 3 seasons. Last time they reached the College World Series was the 2020-2021 campaign. They're always in contention. Again, 18 consecutive trips to the tournament. Plays off. 1-2. You can't say that they've been the torchbearer necessarily of that conference, but certainly kind of a heartbeat of that conference, The way that they play often reflects it. And Josh Alger is able to retire Rigdon for out number 2.
Yeah, Vanderbilt definitely a trendsetter in that SEC, and there are a lot of trendsetters in that conference in general, and Vandy definitely a stronghold there in the South.
Third strikeout for Alger tonight. A 3-sport athlete in high school as Nelson takes ball 1.
And this Vandy squad, mostly sophomores, 15 sophomores, 14 freshmen, and 17 states represented on the roster, with Tennessee, of course, leading the way.
It's funny because Riley Nelson wasn't even necessarily supposed to crack into the starting lineup as consistently as he had, but he hasn't been able to be taken out of the lineup. Coach Corbin can't find a better player or a more productive one. Every single time he's maybe sought someone else, Riley Nelson would say, hey, hold my water, and right on cue, drives it into right center. But on the move is Peyton Brennan. It didn't have quite the distance, but it had the pop off the bat. Josh Alger gets the job done, and he retires the side to end the top of the 6th. Bottom half coming up right after tonight. Temperatures dipping underneath 60 degrees in the mid-50s as hoodies are being put on. And it continues to get a little bit chillier, and it's been chilly for this UCLA offense. Perhaps they can heat it up, taking on Connor Fennell. Coming in, last appeared against Tennessee Tech, pitched 1 full inning, collected 3 strikeouts on an efficient 15 pitches. A breakdown of his stats this season. Again, the bullpen has just been consistent for Vanderbilt all year.
Yeah, a sophomore, 6'1", 170, from Londonderry, New Hampshire. Also noted Londonderry High School product, Brian Wilson, the former closer that pitched for the San Francisco Giants and then the Dodgers, Fear the Beard. Bit of a character.
Such a confident player as well, loves to attack the strike zone. The big change from this year to last year, though, as they're adjusting the comm device in his cap.
I feel like we've seen this several times throughout these games early on. Little technical difficulties, or he can't get that signal.
That's one of the changes to college baseball this year as well, but to wrap up the point, he's really changed his body. He's put on more weight. He's hit the weight room harder. He's come into his own a little bit more physically. And they're excited about what he can potentially bring to this pitching staff that's deep this year. Nothing in 2 now for Levi Lavu.
And Fennell, a transfer from Dayton, where he had a 4.7 ERA in 15 appearances. And now enjoying his time at Vanderbilt.
One of 2 transfers from Dayton as well, along with David Mendez. Of course, their assistant coach, Jason King, in his first season in Vanderbilt, was the former 7-year steward at Dayton. That's hit hard up the middle. On the slide is Vastine, and he's able to throw it in time to Nelson to cut him down to begin the 6th.
Yeah, really good athleticism by Vastine, moving to his left, and it almost looked like when he got that ball, he sort of snow-coned it in his glove and sort of playing towards the hole. And, yeah, he kind of snow-coned it at the end, and good transfer. Able to get Lavu in a solid stretch there by Nelson at first. Good play.
Yeah, he made that look a lot easier, the transfer, than it actually was. All of his body weight falling away.
And we've seen some Vandy shortstops in professional baseball making similar plays. Dansby Swanson, one of them. And Vandy in general, of course, with a really great pipeline of professional players who come back and often interact with the team.
Oh, hear it from here. Roman Martin got smacked by that pitch. Not to mention Walker Buehler, another Vanderbilt alum, just signed with the Yankees in the offseason. Won a title here, World Series with the Dodgers. It's a Vanderbilt product, so you're right. We've seen a lot as he's hit just in the tricep area.
Yeah, hit him on that elbow guard, and he looked kind of pumped as he got it. Didn't hurt him because of that guard, but UCLA struggling to get that runner on, and they've got one now.
Hawking takes a fastball at the top of the zone.
And Hawking in the 5 spot tonight.
By the way, you mentioned that pipeline. 7 players from this Vanderbilt team last season got drafted. Bryce Cunningham and Carter Holton, both taken in the 2nd round. They are littered throughout Major League Baseball. 0-1 to Hawking. Pops it. Will it escape the netting? It will.
Got a duck and cover there in the crowd. They're not wearing helmets.
And I didn't see too many gloves as well. It was a bare-handed effort. We are receiving word. Don't know if the fan came down with it, though. And they did.
So defense in the crowd.
They want to feel a part of the game. They're the 12th man, if you will.
That's exactly right. Now they have a lot to be happy about, especially on that Vandy side of the crowd where that ball landed.
1-2 count to Hawking. He's off, and an unwise decision. Connor Fennell is able to strike him out here in the 6th.
And kind of a gift it looked like from that home plate umpire there, Scott Latendra. And, you know, behind the dish there, Bartsy framing kind of on the inside part of the plate, does a slight little shift over. And, yeah, I think in the box there, Hawking was like, I don't know.
I think it's more, it just feels like a lot of those calls are coming in late, which could be what is upsetting some of these batters because a lot of them are delayed.
And a lot of the questionable calls, or at least the ones they're protesting, are coming on 2 strikes. And as much as, you know, certainly UCLA is not thrilled with those calls, going down looking is never, you're sort of just giving up even the opportunity to put the ball in play, of course, by not swinging. And you'd like them to be a little bit more competitive here. And as they get into another 2-strike count, go down at least swinging.
Brennan has gone down swinging his last 2 at-bats. Another 1-2 sliding stop by Barcy. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And we're seeing a 2-pitch mix so far. That fastball and that looked like a changeup with a little bit of tail there, away from a lefty.
And he climbs the ladder with the fastball. Connor Fennell retires Brennan, strikes out the final 2 batters as this pitching staff for Vanderbilt has held the Bruins in check the last 4 innings. Still an 8-2 game on to the 7th. Brody Johnston leading things off as the cleanup man for Vanderbilt as we begin the 7th inning. Sid Iyer, Jonah Malkin, happy to be with you here at Jackie Robinson Stadium. We thought it was going to be perhaps a more competitive game so far. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played. And the bullpen, first C.J. Botts And now Josh Alger trying to do their part to keep their offense in it. And they really have. The last 3 innings, they've contained this Vanderbilt offense that had erupted for 8 runs through the first 3. But their offense hasn't been able to string together any momentum. They've generated lead on players to reach base. Now they're staring at Brody Johnston. He was 2 for 3. They only managed to stifle him the last time up. Popped up to Phoenix call at second. Good framing by Duggar, but doesn't get the call.
Yeah, Johnson a big reason for tonight. Look at that, 3-run home run, a triple, and 4 RBI, so half the run production for the Vandy boys.
Just fouled off the edge of the bat. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And again, to highlight the disparity in offensive production tonight, Vanderbilt with 9 hits, UCLA still only with 1.
Good pitch, he takes it for 1-2. Johnston's father, Michael, actually played semi-pro football for the Chattanooga Steam and Tennessee Pioneers. His mom, Bridget, played softball at Chattanooga State. So he's grown up in a family with athletes. Flies one into center. Backpedaling is Brennan just in front of the track, and he makes the catch.
Man, that ball felt like it was hit off the end of the bat, but hit certainly way up in the air, and especially with how the wind moves here at Jackie Robinson Stadium, went kind of carried a little bit to center field.
And you and I were talking during the transition of how this colder temperature is impacting the distance that these balls are traveling, where we saw in the beginning of the game, still light out, some of those balls were flying a little bit more. That hasn't been the case. They've been curbed to a huge degree.
Yeah, and we're getting to mid-50s. It looks like it's 56 degrees right now, and by California standards, it's freezing. We're soft when it comes to the weather. Certainly in the South, they have their share of seasons.
I'll give you credit, though. You're from Northern California. It does get chilly up there.
It does, yeah. I mean, San Francisco.
I don't know if you ever had to bring out your parka in the dugout during a game in the spring, but it does get cold.
Hey, as a pitcher, you're just trying to just mac on your sunflower seeds and stay warm. So I definitely had my puffer jacket. Keep warm that way. But yeah, LA, certainly one reason why a lot of these players love coming to UCLA is the weather. It's always nice year-round.
3-0 pitch finds the 3 put out. Jared Hawking trying to extend this inning for UCLA, the junior out of Anaheim. He did have a stretch in his own right back in the 2023 season where he hit a home run in 3 straight games. Last year, couldn't send it over the wall. And you don't necessarily need home runs. Obviously, that's a quicker way to erasing a deficit. But certainly they wouldn't mind seeing him connect. Had that 1 double in the second.
Yeah, and UCLA, similarly in that last game against ASU, had trouble getting that key hit, which contributed to that loss. And we saw them rely on the long ball. At least, at least in these last previous games. Just a combination of working the counts and stuff as we've talked about, but they have been relying on that home run, haven't been able to get that key hit, and we're seeing something similar now.
2-2 to Hawking, and he is struck out. Alex Kranzer responding after conceding that home run to LaVue. Kranzler's able to strike out the final 2 batters to keep this a 5-run game. On to the top of the 9th. We come back. Well, Mulivai LaVue trying to do what he can, and passing the ball to Kiekona. The sophomore left-hander made his first appearance of the season to begin the top of the 9th inning in Game 2 against Arizona State. Made quick work of the Sun Devils, collected 2 outs, facing just 2 batters in 3 pitches, making his second appearance of the season. There were thoughts that he could enter tonight, and we're seeing him in the same exact spot in back-to-back games.
Yeah, funky lefty delivery from Kiekona. And yeah, he looked pretty good in that last outing, as you mentioned, only 3 pitches. Last year, 2024, just only threw a single inning in 2 appearances. So given a bit of an opportunity here with Vandy up by 5, but certainly a chance for him to continue upon his last outing.
#1 left-handed pitcher out of the state of Hawaii back in high school, said he admires Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler. Funny enough, you think about where last year this tournament was played at Dodger Stadium. You've got Clayton Kershaw and then Walker Buehler, a Vanderbilt alum. Kind of kismet in some way that he's now entering in this spot.
I remember watching Buehler pitch when he was at Vandy. Still had those tight pants that he still wears. You always wonder with a pitcher wearing pants that are that form-fitting, hopefully it doesn't rip them on the stride.
Well, we saw how many issues they had with pants last spring. How you could... Well, let's just say the pants were transparent. Comfort wasn't exactly the most discussed aspect of it.
No. Luckily, it seems like the MLB addressed that this year.
Yes. They're adaptable. They've demonstrated an agility and a willingness to change.
That's right.
That funky delivery deals a strike. 2-2 to Mac Rose.
Man, Kiekona employing that slider. We've seen a couple of them this at bat, and we saw him in his previous outing. Throws from a low 3/4 release, so lends itself to some nice sliding action.
Rose is able to foul it off to stay alive. He's been really good tonight, Rose. Has scored 2 runs, has reached 3 times, a homer in the first inning following that 3-run homer delivered by Johnston, who had an opportunity in the top of the 8th to shut the lights. Had he been able to connect for a grand slam to invoke that run rule as that drifts outside for 3-2. The one thing you have to acknowledge about this Vanderbilt team, they've been consistent from start to finish, even though they haven't connected on as many hits in the later innings. Their bullpen has been stout. Their defense has only committed 1 error. It wasn't costly. And that is smacked off the 1-hop. An excellent stop by Lavu to step on the bag in time.
Little web gem here to start the 9th inning. Let's take a look at that real quick, that dive. So that pitch on the outside, hit off the end of the bat, and sort of a 1-step drop. And really good play. Prevents that ball from getting down the line, and 1 out here in the 9th.
We saw kind of similarly, there was an opportunity for Roman Martin down the 3rd baseline at one point to come up with a similar play. That's exactly why, though, Lavu is over there, just a sophomore starting first baseman. He's been so reliable.
And flexed some power earlier with that home run.
Yeah. Barcy puts a charge into left center. On the move is Brennan. Again, not as much carry as the sound elicited off the bat. And there are 2 away.
Yeah, felt like it had more in the tank as it came off the bat. bit of a theme tonight. Pretty straightforward fly out to Brennan there in center field.
Just in front of the decal of Men of Westwood out there. Gets 370 in that gap, so you really got to make good contact with it. As that just slices foul down the third base line. And it was unprotected too. Martin had slid over, so had that stayed a couple feet to the right, would have had a lot of green grass in front of him. Oh, 0-2. Blasted it past him. Mancini's really the only Commodore that hasn't made a real impact offensively. He's been struck out the last 3 times. Did generate that 1 walk in the first inning. 1-2.
And a really good slider, 2 strikes. Kept it down in the dirt. Tried to coax him into a swing and a miss.
Just drops off the corner, 2-2.
Yeah, really trying to get him to bite.
Does have a couple of those pitches to work with.
Yeah. Good control of that sweeping slider.
Mancini slice into left. West sprinting for it and makes the catch. And has some extra real estate as well. 6-7 in batters due up for the Bruins. Last chance for them.
Or maybe being...
Now this one is interesting. Maybe something with a Pac-Man or...
Maybe they're mimes.
Right. We just saw the schedule. First pitch pop-up for Brennan. Coming forward is Austin, and he makes the play.
And if you were to talk about kind of what happened in this game, I think the summary is the game happened there in that first 3 innings. Vandy with a 4 spot, and then another 4 spot in the third. UCLA was able to answer in the second, but it's been quiet ever since. Again, only 3 hits so far for the Bruins.
Yeah, those 2 crooked numbers for Vanderbilt. And what have you seen on the pitching end from Vanderbilt that has stood out to you?
They've been leading with that fastball and getting swings and misses early in the count. And
took a nasty hop right into the stomach of Mancini. Watches it all the way. And they're 2 gone.
Yeah, these Vanderbilt pitchers they're leading with that fastball, getting swings and misses. And while it's true that they've been locating that off speed for sure, I think it's really the name of the game has just been throwing to these hitters. And for better or for worse, UCLA hasn't been able to get a string of hits together or get that lucky ball to fall in. And that's just kind of been the name of the game.
Last chance for the Bruins. Cashel Duggar trying to extend this game. Flew out to right his last time up. Did deliver a sacrifice bunt to score the 2nd run for UCLA. Takes a fastball up and away. 2-0.
And from the offensive side for Vandy, they've just kind of done a good job of making these pitchers work. And we've seen some good, solid contact as well, a couple of doubles in the gap. And, of course, we've talked about some of the home runs we've seen as well. Brody Johnson having a really excellent game tonight. That triple and that home run earlier. And, again, only a true freshman. And so
Duggar laces this one into center, and back goes Austin, and that will end this dominant performance from the 12th ranked Commodores coming into Jackie Robinson Stadium, spotting them 2 4-run innings to lead comfortably the entire way. They've won 8 consecutive games. They're playing their best baseball of the season. Final thoughts, Sid, on what you saw tonight?
Yeah, just a lot of swagger from this Commodores lineup, and certainly the pitching staff as well. Really solid pitching from J.D. Thomas.
Silence.